Hi everybody, I'm a little bit early, but that's okay. I'm going to do our show and tell first. This is how you can reach me. Let's see, let's do this one first. This is the holy grail of social media. VickiRossArt.com. It has links to everything that you would ever want to hear me utter or show. It's also got a link to a gallery page so you can look over my paintings. Okay? Okay, we got that. Did you write it down? VickiRossArt.com with an I. The other one that's getting a lot of traction lately, I do a live stream here. And if you want to see me on a regular basis so you can stay in touch, you need to go to a Facebook group. I'm getting this all combobulated. This is the private Facebook group called Axully Art. And Axully is phonetic for actually. This is a community of like-minded people where you can talk and you can show your work and you can ask questions. It's not about me. Damn it. It's always supposed to be all about me. All right. Facebook page is where you want to go and get notifications so that you can see things like this. Facebook changes its algorithms continuously, it seems, on the timelines. That's why you don't see the same people over and over and you miss some. So the best way to stay in touch with people that you like to stay in touch with is to go to their Facebook page. Ta-da! Vicki Ross Art. Easy to remember, right? YouTube. I do a live. This is backwards. What I'm seeing is backwards. I do a live YouTube video every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 with some kind of a product review or playing in my journal or something light. I don't do teaching. I do that on the class. But anyway, youtube.com is Vicki Artist. And if you will subscribe and click the bell, that will send you an email or send you an email and a text message when I'm going live. And I'm usually on there for 2 hours. And it's just a real fun group of folks from all over. I was having a conversation the other day with a girl from Norway. So it's just fun. And the chat is light and fun. And you watch me paint. And when I'm quiet, y'all talk, chat and talk to yourself. So anyway, in case you don't know by now, my name is Vicki Ross. How would you have figured that out? Because it's written on everything. I developed the Ideal Art and Peace system on a site called teachable.com, and it's one of those learn as you go type classes. I help people learn and grow as artists to fill their empty time with peace. What I mean by that is it doesn't matter how old you are or what your circumstances are, whether you jumped off the cliff or whether you were pushed off the cliff like I was, you end up with extra time on your hands. I mean, right now, if you're cooking spaghetti for a house full of kids and you've got both turkey roasters going with spaghetti, in a few years, you're not going to have that. They're going to go their separate ways. And then what are you going to do? You got to learn to cook for one or two, supposing that you're still married. You may not be. Like I said, it doesn't matter why you have empty time. And you should start planning right away. I'm trying to think. This hits most people around age 50 when they start having a few physical problems and they get tired and bored of their career and, so on and so forth. But you better make plans. I don't care if you're going to cook. I don't care if you're going to make model airplanes or if you're going to fly model airplanes. Find something that makes your heart sing, something that you want to get up early in the morning or late in my case and do that you're excited about learning. That will keep you young. It will fill your empty time. And at the end of the day, you feel like you've accomplished something. You've developed a new circle of friends, a new tribe. So that's what I did. After my daughter passed away, I took up art. And it wasn't necessarily a choice I made. It was either that or die. So I chose to paint. And what I'm going to do, or what I do in the group, in the class, is I teach you how, if art is what you want to do, how you can learn about it quickly, cut to the chase. I'm not going to say it's doable in 4 weeks. It would be if you focused on it totally, which nobody does. Bukus of material. I've got to add up all the videos now that the class design is finished, but it's a ton of information. And what we do, the first half of the class is about the basics, color, tone, drawing. We're going to go back to kindergarten, pick up where we left off. And then the second half is playing with materials, introduction to and actually using the materials that are included in the kit. So anyway, that's all I got to say about that. I got to have my little thing to play with. Isn't that a cool brush? It's a hockey brush. And they're real soft. Can't wait to use it in watercolor. Alrighty, I'm going to talk about mantras. And I don't know of another phrase for that, but it's something short and sweet that triggers your brain. It triggers a change in behavior. It triggers an awareness. So Mélanger, avec, Amour, and that's Arkansas French, is mine. And it stands for stir with love. And, you know, you see tricks where if you're trying to quit smoking, you pop a rubber band on your wrist. That's kind of sort of what we're talking about. And when I'm in a situation where I don't really want to be, like folding clothes or emptying the dishwasher, if I'm kind of grumping in my mind about, I got to hurry up, I got things I'd rather be doing. Of course, I always have things I'd rather be doing. I remember stir with love, and I try to find some enjoyment in the task that I'm doing, and it goes a lot faster. And then I feel better because I've accomplished something. In 2006, I think it was, I went to my favorite place in France, La Bonne Étoile, as an art retreat. And it was in the winter, so there wasn't much, you know, in the winter, there's not a whole lot to do. But the goal for that workshop was to translate the French chef, his name is Mark, translate his recipes into American. So the other people at the event or at the workshop would take notes and translate and ask questions as Mark was measuring and cutting ingredients and telling what order he put them in, giving them the instructions verbally. And then I was going to take those recipes and put them into a cookbook. Well, I hadn't done a creative project since before the fire and wasn't real sure I wanted to get back into it, but it sounded like a fun project. So, you know, I said, yeah. Well, it ended up being more than a cookbook. Of course, if I'm involved in it, it's going to be a little bit more. Ended up being almost half and half, stories of redos, stories of starting over, remakes, personal retreats, you know, just general feel-good stuff. It's really great. But anyway, the title of that book is Mélanger, avec, Amour. And when Mark explained what it meant and why it meant that, it just was like a bell that went off in my head. These books are still available, by the way, on Lulu. If you're interested in one, I don't get any money from it, but if you're interested in one, drop me a message or send me a comment or whatnot, and I'll hook you up to that site. But anyway, stir with love. It means when you're stirring, say that you're making, I used to, by the way, melting sugar on the stove for a creme brulee. That used to be one of my specialties. And you stir and you stir and you stir. Well, you get tired of stirring. So at some point you go, oh man, this is going to taste so good. And as you stir it, you think about it and you're stirring it with love at that point. And then, you know, I realized that you could melt that sugar in a microwave. So that took all the fun out of that. My glasses are fogging up. That's what it means. That's how it means. So if you're making spaghetti in a great big boiler pan for your kids and you make it every Monday for 15 years, remember to stir it with love. That's my mantra. You come up with your own. You're welcome to share mine. And the reason I talk about that today is because I had a great big reason for needing it last week. As y'all know, I've been working on a commission. It's a portrait for a wedding anniversary. And I thought I was on the very last stages, and it's in encaustic, which is, it's a booger, which of course that's why I like it, because I like to challenge myself with the hardest stuff. And I got a little bit overzealous last Thursday afternoon and melted too much of the wax. So I lost about a week's worth of work. So there I am. And my target deadline was Sunday. There wasn't any way in hell I was going to make that deadline. So I made sure that it didn't interfere with anything planned for Sunday, for the actual anniversary day. And that, graciously, if you're not happy with it, you got to be happy with it first. So that's where we left it. And it's taken me 3 full days, and I've got it back where it was. And of course, it's better. When I did that, and I'm sitting there looking at it, and the face is a blur because it's a portrait. Of course, those are hard in anything, but let alone encaustic. And I took a deep breath, and I'm sitting there, and I'm going, channeling John Singer Sargent, come in, please. Well, he was the famous portrait artist in the 1800s that painted all these glorious portraits of women of means, and he was very well known. Well, people think he was a perfectionist, but this is what he would do. He'd be painting a full-size portrait of a lady in an evening gown, and the whole gown was in the painting. And a certain fold on the gown might have the light hitting it just right. He would take his palette knife after he painted it and scrape it off. And he'd go back in and he'd paint it again. And there were some paintings that he took off 20 times until he felt like he got it right. And the people that talk about this that were there say, and on that 20th time, he would be standing back about 15 feet from his portrait, looking at his model, looking at the painting, his hand behind his back, and he would have paint on his brush, and he would charge the canvas, make one stroke, and leave it. Now, it's perhaps not that he was after perfection, but every time he scraped that paint off that one spot, he left a residue. He left a little bit of color, because it's going to stain your canvas unless you just scrape it within an inch of its life. But if you just scrape off the top layer, you're going to leave little bits of those previous layers every time. And then that final stroke is final because you're picking up the shadows of those others, which makes that fold look real. The other thing that he used to do was he painted women's hands longer than they really were. Like the fingers would be, longer. They would look more graceful, and the hand would be thin, and it would be just like, we're so important kind of thing. And one painting, he was painting and had an audience for some reason, and perfect hand. And he looked at it, went over and scraped it off. And everyone in the room was going, oh my God, I can't believe he did that. He scraped it off. And he turned around and he said, I did it once, I can do it again. I wasn't happy with it. So I say all that to say that that's what I was thinking as I looked at this. I had to get in the zone. I had to focus. I had to get in my Zen zone where the next video I was going to record or the next video I was going to watch, I had to drill down and just have some music of my choice going in my ears, preferably, because that knocks out all the other noise, and just sit there and wait for the right strokes to come to me. I spent an hour and a half on one eye on Saturday. Now, I know that if I compare that eye to the one that I messed up, it could be that the one that I melted too far needed to be redone. So that was the attitude I took with me when I started redoing that face. And the whole time I was saying, stir with love. You've got plenty of time. You did it once. You can do it again. Doesn't matter if you take it off 15 or 20 times. You got this. So that's where my mantra works for me. It keeps me from kicking the dogs or kicking a door or getting all mad or telling everybody how rotten I am and I can't do this and I can't do that, all the negativity stuff. What it allows me to do is to center myself and have faith in the years of training that I've had and the miles of canvas and paper that I've painted, and I can enjoy the process. So that's my story for this week. So let me know in the comments if you've got any mantra of your own, and tell some stories over in the Facebook, on the Facebook page, which is where you are now, and start a conversation about your mantra and how it helps you stay balanced. Again, I welcome you to join my blog. That's at Axully, AXULLY.com. I do a blog post, try to every Wednesday, and it's a post about some of my past travels when I was learning to paint, some of my past, some of the paintings that I did in the early days are in slideshows, and there's lots of fun stuff, and it gives you an idea of where and how I went on my journey to become an expert painter. And I'm not saying that about myself. Somebody else said that about me, but never mind that. But again, it took me 15 years to dig out the information that I knew was there. I had helpers along the way. I had people who would give me part of it. But it wasn't until it all coalesced together in my mind that I realized I could have done that in a month if somebody had just given it to me like that. So that's what I do. And keep those brushes wet, and I will see you next week or tomorrow at 4 on YouTube. We're going to have some fun. I don't know what it'll be, but we'll have some fun. And this is Vicki Ross, over and out.